Welcome back to FM Live. My name is Mike Usrey, and today we're going to be talking about some high-performance lighting upgrades. Now, we've talked about a lot of different high-performance stuff, and we're just kind of starting to get into a new world of lighting. So hopefully, this is a good way for everybody that's got an older vehicle, or at least we're going to focus today on NA Miatas, to kind of bring their car's lighting performance game up into the modern world and the modern times. So specifically today, we're going to talk about front turn signals. So in front of me, we've got some stock standard NA turn signals. And they work just fine, obviously, but you can change them. There's a lot of different options out there. We have different plug-in LED options for them, but also new is that we have some new DRL units that, switchback units that replace the entire housing. They can be set up for DRL if you want to, by the way. But these are a new item for us that we are stocking here at our facility from Carbon Miata. So we have two versions. We have a clear version and a smoked version. Now, I should specify, I mentioned NA, but specifically 1990 to 97 only, or at least here in North America. So these are LEDs. They are not incandescents or intended for incandescents like the factory housings are. So these guys are actually quite a bit slimmer overall. You don't need all the extra housing and reflective chamber, I guess you could call it, on the backside, because this is all done with LEDs in this kind of slitted eyeball looking shape that's in this turn signal. So these guys, as you can see, I'll show you the backside as far as functionality is concerned. They do use two screws to hold them in place, just like the factory ones do. And then they also have wiring with the exact same connector as the factory one. So these guys are literally plug and play. You don't have to do anything. They even have a built-in resistor, so that way your turn signal doesn't hyperflash. You don't have to wire it in. You don't have to cut and splice your factory wiring. None of that. You literally unplug your old unit, stick this guy in there. It plugs in, bolts in the same exact way, fits great, and it works just like you'd expect. Now, the cool thing about these guys, or one of the other cool things about these guys, is that they aren't just a on and off kind of thing for turn signals. They are a switchback, meaning that this kind of slitted eyeball shape, it illuminates white whenever you have your parking lights on. So if you have a car that you just turn the parking lights on, or if you have a DRL set up factory or aftermarket, the white light will come on with parking lights. And then whenever you switch to turn signal for left, right, or hazards, this will actually have a sequential light that goes from the inside towards the out of the car to indicate that that's the direction you're turning, or of course hazards, they both happen at the same time. So we have, again, these guys in both the clear version and the smoked. These lenses are an optically clear lens. They're very nice, neat, tidy lenses. Another thing that I like, especially if we're trying to keep things a bit more modern, is that comparing them to the factory ones, is that these have refractive lenses. So that's what these lines are that go up and down on the factory guys, is that helps the incandescent bulbs to spread more light. But it's an old school like kind of look. So if you're not really sold on keeping a classic look to it, then these LEDs do a good job of having a very clear housing and giving it a more modern look overall. So I've talked a lot so far. Let's go ahead and take a look, because I'm sure that's really what you want to see, is what these look like on the car. Luckily for you, right behind us here, we have Captain Bob. This is our shop NA, and I have installed one of the smoked and one of the clear, so that way you can see what each one looks like. I will turn them on in just a moment. I will comment that I think the fit and finish on these guys is actually really nice. As I mentioned, these are from Carbon Miata, so they do have to cross the ocean to get over here to us. But don't let that sway you as far as quality is concerned. I'm kind of a nitpicky guy myself, but I wouldn't have any problem put these on my personal car. I think that all around the edges here, they fit just as well as the factory ones do, if not better in some cases. But enough talking, let's talk about, or actually see what they look like in action. I'll start with just the parking lights. It may be a little bit hard to pick up in the video, but the smoked turn signal is just a little bit dimmer than the clear lens. Obviously, if you put something with a little bit of a smoked film on the front side of it, it will reduce the light output a little bit. But surprisingly, at least for in person, it's not really that big a difference. I think if you're looking for the brightest option, obviously the clear lens would do that for you, but the smoked option doesn't really take that much brightness out of it. So now let's actually take a look at the sequential action. So I'll turn on the smoked one first. And you can see it just takes the lower portion of that kind of squinty eyeball look, and it does the sequential from inside to out. The top portion does not illuminate, so the amber color is only on kind of the bottom portion. And then just like the smoked ones, of course, the clear is going to do the same thing. Let's move over to that one if you're ready. And as you saw, as Travis moved around there, of course, the other side, since the indicator is not on, the other side that's not active is still white, hence the switchback. So now that you turn off your indicator, it just turns back to just regular white for parking lights or daytime running lights, whichever you have. And that's it. Very, again, simple, bolt-in, easy upgrade, literally plug and play. So now that we've seen these in action, let's answer a few questions you have about them. One of the big questions was, do we stock these here at FM? And yes, the answer is we certainly do. Normally, if you are buying these direct, you'd have to order them up from Carbon Miata and then wait several weeks or months, depending on delivery speeds, to actually have it show up at your house. We have these ready and waiting. We're in Colorado, so order them up. If you're anywhere in North America, it's probably a week or less to be able to get these parts to your door, as long as we have them in stock. So as of right now, we've got both options in stock, ready to go. I can't say that we will going forward if these are as popular as we've seen some of the other LED lights. So if you think that you want one of these, I recommend placing your order pretty quickly. We will be restocking them if and when we do run out, so don't worry. But these are shipped from our location. We don't drop ship these. Another question we got about these is if they are DOT legal. Now, this may be hard to pick up on camera, but let me show you what DOT is talking about if you're not sure. Over here on my right-hand side, your left-hand side, there's a little DOT marker on the lens of the factory units. That is specifying that the Department of Transportation has approved or certified that these are legal to use on a road-going car. Unfortunately, these do not have a DOT certification. So they do not have DOT written on the lenses. They are not certified, bona fide, all that kind of stuff as far as the Department of Transportation is concerned. So many of you will likely have to consider this an off-road only part. Now, depending on what your local laws say, that may not be true. So I don't know all of your local laws. If you're not sure, check in with them first before you buy, but be aware they do not have a DOT certification. Another great question that we got that took us by surprise a little bit was, how much do they weigh compared to the stock turn signals? That one was definitely took us for surprise, but there were a surprising number of people who wanted to know. And looking at them, you're like, oh yeah, that's definitely got to be good for weight savings, right? Actually, they are half an ounce heavier than the stock units. So effectively the same, but if you're worried about a half an ounce difference per turn signal, then just don't wear socks that day and you'll be fine. Effectively the same thing. So another question that we got about lights in general, kind of a little bit off topic of these guys because they are Carbon Miata parts. is, will we be offering any other parts from Carbon Miata? And yes, the answer is we do offer some other Carbon Miata parts. We are still looking into options because these are a relatively new thing for us. But if you are considering these or LEDs like these or other Carbon Miata parts for your Miata, let us know. We don't carry all of their parts, but if there's enough demand for certain things, then yeah, we can certainly carry more options. So if you have suggestions for things that you'd like us to carry, drop those down in the comments below and we'll check it out. One thing that I did not address early on, and I should have, so my apologies, is that you may come across an installation hiccup if you aren't ready for it. And that is that on these pigtails, you can see that they have a little bit of wiring on both of them. Now, normally on the stock headlight housings, you just have a bulb that pulls out of the housing. We've got an LED in here at the moment. And so normally, sticking out of the car, this is actually what you'd see. So there is a second plug. There's a little pigtail harness like this. So don't be afraid that you're like, wait, this doesn't work. No, you have to unplug the stock pigtail harness. And then these guys, they're just tied up right now, but they have a length of pigtail harness just like this. There's plenty of room to plug these guys in, just like the stock guys. So no worries on that. Just be aware. Don't be concerned when you pull that plug out and it's not the same as these guys. They are pigtail ready, and obviously since these don't have a bulb like the stock ones do, you just have just this connector to deal with. So I think that pretty much covers what I had prepared. Do we have any questions that popped up during the video?
Is this offered for the NB too?
So do we have them for the NB? Currently we do not, because the NB turn signals, at least in the front anyway, well, and the rear technically, are part of the whole housing. We do not have replacement housings for the NB, at least not currently. That may or may not be a thing in the future. We'll see. If you have suggestions, let us know. We'd love to hear about it. I like lighting stuff, so if you got anything interesting, I would love to see it. Anything else? Okay. All right. Well, this was a pretty short FM Live as far as what I usually come up with is concerned. So hopefully this was informative. Hopefully you got to see some pretty cool high-performance lighting in action. If you have any other questions that we didn't answer during this FM Live that you'd like to ask us about, feel free to contact us at flyinmiata.com. We've got our contact us page there. You can call us. You can send us an email. We're on Facebook, Instagram, all of that good stuff. So feel free to reach out if you would like to talk more about lighting upgrades for your car, and we can get you going. Thanks again for your attention, and if you would like to see more content like this about other topics, we would also really appreciate you making suggestions. So if there's something, not even lighting, but some kind of Miata performance-oriented topic you'd like us to cover, drop that suggestion down in the comments below, and we may be talking about it in some FM Live episode in the future. Anyway, that's it from me today. Thanks again for joining. We will see you all next week.